Next time we'll keep it shorter. Thank you. It's good to be here. My name is Nelson, and I've been asked to take the first 10 minutes, so this is not part of my time, to tell you about what we do at TBC Care Spring. At TBC Care Spring, at Care Spring by TBC, thank you. Our primary concern is to increase the productivity of the members of the house, and we do so by, we could say, maybe three means. One, helping with the urgent 5K when it's needed. Primarily, sometimes people have that emergency need. We have to just be there. And then two, working really hard to ensure that we don't need to give the urgent 5K in the first place, which is building capacity, so which is part of what we're doing here today, to invite us to come and, learn how to improve our productivity. So for example, if you're making 100,000 a month, we want to know how much you want to make in the next couple of months. If you say, okay, I have a target of 250,000, question now becomes, what is the gap between 100,000 a month and 250,000 or 500,000? And we now start figuring out how to bridge that gap. So for example, we had some real success stories. We had one of our members who wanted to become an NGO development person, who helped her to get the right training, get the right exposure, and today, thankfully, she's well employed in an NGO, making bigger bucks. So we also support with maybe short, small loans, when needed, and because some people come forward to us and say, I need 100,000, and we're like, you can actually, pay for this money as a loan instead of draining the church's resources. So we give the loan and people repay. So we've had some fantastic, I think many people in the church are our clients, but we don't like, mentioning names in public, but we want, so everybody's enjoying to visit our desk. Yemisi Isidi is our female lead. Yemisi, we just take a bow. So if you can't talk to stern-looking guys like myself and Barrister Max, Yemisi will listen to you. And we also have Sashola Oworu on the team. And our dear sister, Simi, who is not presently with us at the moment, is one of our core members. So we have seen real growth in our intervention. I'll give you a final case study. One of our members in church here came to us a while ago, and we were interrogating her to figure out what exactly do you want to do. And it became clear that she was just afraid. It was just fear, fear of moving on, fear of looking at the numbers, fear of starting out. And thankfully today, even though we've not even completed our intervention, she has started. She has crossed, she has passed that fear, and she has now started engaging the market. So we are glad that you are here with us and to enjoy the ministry of Care Spring by TBC. Please appreciate the team. Thank you. Thank you. So I will start my session now. For those behind the clock, if you don't mind helping me, let's revert back to square one. Okay, so my team is to discuss with us how to build an impactful business. And that's really a lot to ask for, because we want to build a business, we want to build an impactful business, because that means that a business might not be impactful. That's the assumption in that text. And I kind of agree, because there are two big contentions whenever we discuss this subject matter of business in the minds of people, particularly in the minds of Christians. One is that we ask ourselves, is business just about making money, or is there something more to it? The person behind the slide, I will urge you to use your discretion and follow me. I will not say next slide, so figure it out. So there's two contentions. Contention of, is it about making more money, or is it about creating and selling value, offering value to people? That's really huge in the minds of many people. And for me in particular, when this concept began to bubble up, because I was a lover of God, a Christian, I kind of felt it was about money. And I lived in Onitsha. Onitsha is a trading community. My father is a trader, my mom's a teacher. So my perception of business was more of money. And I remember my dad slapping me for coming out to the pharmacy store downstairs to sell. But like, you are always talking about money. Live here, go to school, go and read your books. So I was like, I felt it was a bad thing, more or less. So we should be more holy. We should be thinking about holy things, not money. But I got this life-changing experience when I was privileged to be at a full gospel convention. I had the likes of people like Pastor Tommy teaching business academically. I was like, being a researcher, I was like, wow, Jesus, this is for me. So business is actually more about systematically creating value. And to be sustainable, you have to have a profit. If not, you close shop. So sustainability, profit, which is what most people focus on, is actually sustainability, really. Because you have to make money to be able to be sustainable. However, depending on what you bring to that conversation, either as a Christian or as a non-Christian, will determine what you prioritize. As Christians, we prioritize creating value. But we know that being profitable is a cardinal requirement. If not, how will you pay your staff? So, I have crossed that hurdle. We are now fully committed to, I want to believe that all of us now, we understand that it's about creating value, but we have to make money in the process of doing that. Now, but to create that value, you have to serve a market, right? You have to serve a market. There must be a market that you are serving. There must be you cannot just be a businessman. There must be something. There must be something you are offering to the market. I mean, deliberately, consciously, on a daily basis. Again, I will not say next. The people behind the slide. So we call it M for market. It means strategic creativity. Creativity, someone said that creativity is not innovation. It's not, there's a difference between creativity and innovation. What is the difference? The difference is that innovation has profit in mind. Creativity is just creativity. So the business has to be conscious, deliberate, and the market is the people with the money, authority, and desire to pay for your product or service. So the aggregate community of that individual is the market. So you must ask yourself, if I want to do a business, who is the market? Market is mad. Money, authority, desire. Has anybody called you? Let me ask you, sir, do you want to own a private jet? Do you want to own a private jet? Yes. You have a desire for private jet. Legally, you have authority because you are old. You are more than 30 years. You have authority. But has anybody called you to say, sir, we have this private jet to sell? Have anybody called you for it? Why haven't they called you? You are not their market. You don't have the money. Even though you have authority and desire, you don't have the money, right? So someone can say, we were in a meeting one day, someone said, I'm trying to sell a restaurant, but people in my area, they don't have money for that kind of something. I asked her, what does the market mean? He said, money, authority, and desire. The people in your area, do they have the money, authority, and desire for your products? He said, authority and desire, but no money. That's not your market. Go and find your market. Because sometimes we are pushing against the wrong, subject. Yeah. I was discussing with Nettie earlier today that I love MSMEs. I love to work with MSMEs. That's my passion. That's my calling, But I know MSMEs cannot pay me. Do you understand? They don't have the money. They have the authority, but they don't have the money. So I go to NGOs to engage them, to engage me to work with MSMEs. They can pay. Yeah. You understand? So I justify that engagement. So the NGO community is my market. But the MSMEs are the secondary market. Do you get? Yeah. So you must know your market. If not, you'll be complaining. And you might think it's God's fault. I give another parable. A man in Kaduna State into rabbit business. He was praying, oh, God bless my business. God bless my business. God told him, if I get everybody in Kaduna that eats rabbit to buy your rabbit, you'll still not be rich. The market for that rabbit is too small. God said, give me something else to bless. And the guy went to furniture, one of the biggest furniture makers in Nigeria as we speak now, from rabbit to furniture. Because the market also includes what is the size of that market. If it's too small, God does not create market. I don't know if you understand. There's one thing that people don't get. Entrepreneurs don't create markets. They basically assess it. Nobody creates the market. Do you understand? It is our collective GDP that is the market. So people that make Samsung know the average buying power of a Nigerian and know the percentage that would go to phone. So based on your purchasing power, your earning, you can determine if you can buy Samsung Galaxy A, or you could buy the S, or you could buy the other ones. We could determine. We don't need to ask you, do you like it? All I need to ask you, what are you earning? That's all I need to know. So you can determine your market. And the beautiful thing about determining your market is that once you do that, when your market passes, you will know this is my market. This part is not my market. You get. So a business person knows the market. You need to know the market. Now, there are three battles for the market. There are three battles. One is product, process, management. So these are the kind of innovation you see in the marketplace. Product innovation is to do something new or to provide a new service to a new market. Abi? Like an iPad, anything. A new product. That's product innovation. Let's say what we are discussing, product innovation, right? Now, but you also have process innovation. That is the way that product is delivered. So online business is process innovation. It's the same product, but the process is different. So Amazon created a whole new industry. Process innovation. The Netflix, you've been renting movies before, but now, a new process. So you could bring a new product to a new market, or you could bring a new process, all right? Alternatively, which is also, not alternatively, all of them join because you can do it all at the same time, right? Management innovation. Management is how do you organize that work? And I beg to ask a question, which one do you think is harder? Product, process, or management? Management, say management, anybody else? Which is harder? Process. Anybody else? They're all hard. But most of us, we exert our process and management. You can copy a product to an extent. Sometimes you can even develop a product. But how to bring it to the market is the problem. And even when you bring it to the market, how to sustainably bring it to the market. You know, there are two things. So for example now, my man is a lawyer. I love him. He's my friend. We work together. In fact, we have brought him to talk to you now to take a stick. Because we know that you need it for the long term. But my point is this. If I develop a software product, if I don't understand IP, I've achieved product innovation. But whether I'll sustainably develop that product on the long term is in question. My knowledge of IP will determine that, right? So a lot of times, it's not enough to even have a good product. It's not even enough to have a good process. But having the system to scale it, do you know that the person that does sells Akara has more ROI than a bank? Per unit terms, the marginal ROI is higher for the Akara woman than the bank. She can make it 100% every month. Every day, someone said. But the management process to scale that Akara to 1,000 joints is the issue. But Kilimanjaro has done that. And it's now a millionaire or billionaire, right? So it's not enough to have a good, it is the same Akara, but different process. So I'm management structure of that. So we have that challenge of building not just a product, but a lot of times they build a product and we are so happy with ourselves, we've done so well. Hey, calm down. The journey is not over yet. You have to build the management system. And sometimes we may not have the complement of skills, even of culture, of attitudes to make that happen. You don't like working with people. How will you build a big business if you don't like working with people? Do you understand? You don't like people calling you all the time. How will your business grow? You don't like people calling you all the time. So, but you just want to build a product. So knowing that you have to change to make that business work is critical. So it's a matter of learning and little beginnings. You have to keep learning, like Pastor said today, listening to learn. You have to keep learning. It's a cautious, a lifelong commitment to learn. Someone said, if I have sinned further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So by just reading about people who have done business, and I've read what they have done, you discover that, my brother, it's not easy. You have to work harder. You get. I remember reading Warren Buffett, and the guy changed my life, or my mindset, not my life, my mindset. Christ changed my life. Changed my mindset. Changed my mindset in the sense that, his frugality. I was like, it's a virtue. Then I didn't have enough money to pay for the kind of house I want to live in. I said, yes, this is Warren Buffett. This is too. So, it helped me justify my state and say, I will do better, but now this is where I'm going to stay. Minimalist. So my point is that I could see, his ethos helped me. Because I found out that you don't have to impress anybody. The one of the richest man in the world was driving an 80-year-old car. I said, my car is 5 years old. I have 3 more years to go. Deal with it. It's your problem. Not mine. So the reading about other people change your ethos and the way you approach things, and even gives you the kind of willpower to deal with the, peer pressure that you have to change your iPhone today. Your business cannot change this phone today. Pastor Boyro might be earning money from CRS. He can be changing his thing every time. You have salary to pay. Do you understand? So you don't allow that pressure to build up. But his reference point is not Warren Buffett. You understand? Man is Warren Buffett. Do you get? So you have history. Do you understand? You have history. I've said this to help some people. So losing all, guys. We are together here. So, you have history of people that you are benchmarking with. And your approach is different. If you read people like Living the Tarmac, the guy that has Access Bank, you're like, they mortgaged everything to put on that bank. You're like, it can be done. When I listened to this woman that has Health Plus, how they even, not just that she and her husband mortgaged everything they had, they mortgaged the husband's father's assets. Do you understand? I don't know if your craziness reached that level, where it's not just that you and your husband sold everything you had, but that you got your father-in-law to allow their land, their only land, to be used as collateral for a loan. You're like, people are really crazy here. So if you have to do that, you have a reference point. I don't know if you understand. So you're not afraid to do that. I remember hearing Amazon say, I raised money 7 times. So that was Steve Jobs, 7 times. Meaning that he raised money, it got to a point, he needed more money. We went to guys say, I need more money. They gave him again. He came back and said, I need more money. They gave him again 7 times. Amazon took about 7 years to break even. But when you don't know those stories, you might think that, your challenge is too much. This yesterday, I started listening to, what's his name? This president, Trump, out of the deal. Because we're going to do real estate projects, Pastor Tobias' messages will help my spiritual capacity. But I need to hear Trump. Do you understand? To close the deal. Do you understand my point? So, I was just like, it took him like 3 years to close one particular deal. One of their hallmark deal. I was like, Nelson, calm down. You can do this. So the art of value creation can be learned by studying, research, apprenticeship, little beginnings. Expose yourself. You can have different mentors, spiritual mentors, good. Business mentors, you need them. You can read books. Because, again, we do great things by standing on the shoulders of giants. So, market. To know the market you are serving, I just give an example of market, just in case someone has not gotten that. A children clothing market, herbal tea market, baby diaper market, you got market, the school market. Market is specific to a geographical area. So, you cannot say I am in the soft, it's a geographical area. Either you're in Abuja market of that particular sector, right? Or you're in the maybe regional or national market. But you have to know the market you are serving, right? And know the peculiarities of that market. Because once you know the peculiarities It's easier to make decisions. So what do business leaders do? They identify the market. One, understand the market. Determine that the product that they have truly fits that market. Then seek partnerships to develop that product. You have to say, okay, this is what you want to do. But to actually bet it will take a while, right? Partnerships. When you find the partner, then develop the product. Take it to the market. That is test your hypothesis. Do it again and again and better. Just that simple iteration. Identify your market, understand the market, determine that what you have to offer truly fits the market, because an assumption in your head, you don't really know until you go out there and find out. So for example, someone might ask, how do I even know the market? It's a factor of interest. I cannot tell you the market you should search. It's a factor of interest. We say that's what we call the business market fit. The business should fit, the entrepreneurial market fit. The market should fit the entrepreneur. There are some markets that don't fit you. You understand? Let's say you want to go to the entertainment market. You're an introvert. Maybe you should be in the, what do you call it now, production on that market, not the other part that they see you. You will kill the entire thing. So you have to pick which of that market or the market segment that fits you. Don't lie to yourself. You are custom made, by God. You can make some adjustments, but there's a latitude to which you may not be able to adjust. But find the market that fits you. It's a factor of interest and how you are built. Understand that market. The size, the trends, the growth, the stakeholders in that market. Because stakeholders vary per market. So let me take Mr. Wisdom, for example. Mr. Wisdom, which market are you playing in right now? Media. What we are saying has nothing to do with whether you are an employee or employer. It's the same, right? You are in a media market. Can you be more specific? Media is quite broad. Which segment in that market? Okay, graphic media. Okay, graphic. There are some players, there's some software in that market that some of us have never even heard about. There are institutions or structures in that market. He knows more about graphic copyrights, legal consideration than I may ever know. And I may never care to know, So he has to understand the trends in that market. If the software is changing, he has to know. Of recent, we've had to write a concept note for a media company that wants to take over a film institute, And I got reading about that industry. I said, hearing things I never even heard about, So you have to understand the market, the trends, the factors, that are playing in that market, the players in that market, the stakeholders. Determine if you fit. This is about your gut feeling, the research and testing, right? Seek partnerships, financing, very important, team building, legal services. I tell folks, raising money is an art in itself that can be learned. I'll tell you we're going to discuss it today. No matter the good idea you have to learn how to raise money and to keep raising money. And because it never stops. If your goal is 1 million today, tomorrow it might be 1 billion. Next month it might be 10 billion. So you have to have that mindset, which is why I don't do MMM. Because you are burning the relationships you will need. As a student, I understood that early on, that I cannot do multi-level marketing because it will go bad. And it will go bad with my downlines. Whether they are 2 steps down the line or 3 steps, it will still affect because these are people that trust me inherently. Tomorrow, if I need to raise ₦1 million, who will I call? It's the same people. So if you have burnt all your relationships on, what's the other product, GNLD or one of those things, when you now need to raise ₦5 million, you'll be saying, it's not me. So I knew that you can't do that because you need those relationships, because relationships are critical to raise money. Relations are critical. I was in a full gospel meeting last week, and one of the guys that was testifying, he founded his business 18 years ago. It's about 60-something years now. So in other words, it was already about 50. Sorry, it was about 45 thereabouts when he founded that business. Before then, he was a teacher for 15 years, secondary school teacher. He was saying that when he went to get married, he had to borrow money from his wife. His wife to go and to understand how bad it was. So after 15 years of schooling, he now did business for maybe 5 years. First time working with some other people. My point, he began very late. But what made him rich? Today, I went for his mother's burial last 2 months in the East. I didn't know how rich he was because he's the treasurer of my fellowship and I'm the president. So I used to say, sir. I didn't know that who I was talking to is, eons, ahead. So when I went to I didn't know how big his business empire was. But it was, this is someone that can give you $1 billion as a loan. That's how big it is. They said, Nelson, they take this $1 billion, give me when you have it. I didn't know that. But he was telling us his story and became clearly, it was simply that people could trust him. So he was telling us that, Nelson, there's no dollar in Nigeria now. People are not important. But his European partners are sending him goods, but they trust him. Not for anything else, trust. We did real estate 3 years ago when we started. My investor is my friend, who I met actually on Facebook. And if he came to the site, he came 3 times. If he came to the site, this is about a 3-year project, he came 3 times. He had absolute trust. Now, that trust in itself is a burden. You understand? Because you have to live up to it. But you cannot take away that trust is critical to your business. So as Christians, we have an advantage in the sense that we have every reason to be trusted. But the question is, how many Christians can you really trust with 100,000 naira? That's the question. And the question is that if we cannot trust you with 100,000 naira, how can God bless you? You cannot build the relationship for business. You cannot. Because the trust factor has already been blown. So even if you're not trustworthy, for the sake of the future, be trustworthy. Even if it's for selfish purposes, you need to be trustworthy. How much more when it's your nature as a God's child to be? Because team building is about trust. Raising money is about trust. And trust is built. Now, to build growth is hard work. To test your hypothesis, initial market entry, and of course, launch. Then keep doing that over and over again. So I gave this diagram to just show, next one, the diagram to show some of the key questions you ask at different levels of an industry. So I don't know if it's showing. Okay. At the board level, you ask questions like, what shall we do? Management, how well shall we do it? Operations, what do you want me to do? The point I want to make from here is that anyone can ask these questions, and you choose the kind of questions that you want to ask. So, for example, either as an employee, this is to speak to, maybe you want a business owner. If you're a business owner, you're already forced to ask this first 1 and 2, Abi? But even if you want a business owner, it's a choice to ask those questions. It's a choice. You can, even in a paid employment, ask yourself, what should our firm be doing? Analyze the market on your own. It does not cost money to do. Say, how well can we do it? You can do that on your own. As I come up with recommendation. That is how you truly enter management. So, to be a person of impact in your organization without being the CEO is to ask these questions. If you ask these questions properly, over time, you enter management naturally. Somehow, I understood this early. I don't know how, but I understood it early. And I remember as an intern, I told my colleague who was working with me, I said, do you want to work at night? That was at night where we did internship. He said, yes. I said, okay. I'm going to ask the DJ a question and make him a proposal. And he offered me a job. I mean, it was in a meeting. I told him that, do you want, because I can say that we asked. He said, yes, he wants. I said, okay, sir, we are of the opinion that this, you guys should work here, you guys should work here, you guys should work here, because once you can compete at that level, because think about it this way, you're a CEO, your headache is, what shall we do? How well shall we do it? That's your headache. Then all of a sudden you meet one of your staff who should be asking, what do you want me to do? He's not telling you, sir, this thing we are thinking, shouldn't actually happen like this. This is the way it should be. And his thoughts are real. It happens once, twice, 3 times. You say, come. I think you should be using that office. This office is too small for you. Leave those people. They are distracting you. And that is true. It is very true. And it means being able to speak to management. Say, sir, I have a client, billionaire, very rich. Of course, everybody wants to make more money. So somebody come with one idea, this should work. I said, sir, it's not work. I said, sir, it's not working. You say, no, sir. I said, sir, it's not going to work. Why? Because someone has to tell him that, And I've been in meetings, like we were in Korea earlier this year, in front of everybody. We had just come to Korea with a plan of what we're supposed to do. Kike came with a different plan altogether. I said, this is a bad idea. We were quarreling in front of our stakeholders. Those stakeholders are actually internal stakeholders, right? But they were not internal. They were surprised that we were quarreling. I was telling them that, look, if we don't quarrel like this, we'll come here and waste our whole time, And after he agreed with me. My point is that it takes a mindset. And that mindset is that you're a person of value. You want to create value. It's not about payment. Let them sack you. Do you get? Because if you're a person of value, you always find a place. Yeah. And most people at management are looking for people who they can rub minds with because it's a lonely place. I hope you know. So the average CEO is lonely. If you don't know, hear it. The average CEO is lonely because nobody else understands what he's talking about. Everybody's looking for salary. They're telling sir, this expense fuel has finished, this has finished. Like, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. That's what he's saying in his mind. You don't even understand. So the guy is lonely by design. So having someone who understands what is happening, it's a big relief. So I'm saying in a nutshell that you don't have to be employed. You don't have to be a CEO, rather, to do what we are saying. It's about thinking in that frame. And once you start thinking like that, you come into management. And the next thing is that it's easier for you to ask for investment because you can prove it. And people who are investing money in you are CEOs of their own. So if they see somebody who understands management, who is speaking their language, they know. They don't need to say, oh, no. They know because by the words and your considerations. I give you another case study. I had a client who did a business case to raise money. So he was discussing with the investor. An investor was leaving a particular office. This is in Abuja here. Leaving a particular office, a beautiful office, to move to another office. You're about to raise maybe 30 million naira. And this office investor is living is a very beautiful office. Your office is not bad, but it's decent for your level. Now you're telling the investor that, sir, you're living here. You can take over here. Then he was not telling me what he told the investor. I told him, you lost the money. How could you, all of a sudden, start imagining or coveting the guy's office? And the guy is thinking, you need 30 million to grow your business. And your interest now is my office. So all of a sudden, you are not together. You're not together. So I told him, you're not going to get that money. You've blown it. And he didn't get it. I was wondering why. I told him, you don't understand. your priority is wrong. And it showed. I'll give a nice case study. How I even got into real estate to begin with. One client who had passionate connections, could make the work done, We'll have meetings with potential investors, have meetings, close the deal, and we'll tell him, let us go home. Don't stay back with these guys to drink. They stay back and drink, in case you don't know. So I was like, don't stay back with these guys to drink. Because they are not just drinking. They are checking you out. And we know that you don't have it all together. We are just covering you as a team. Do you understand? So, but our guy will not get it. So we'll close a deal, they'll stay back and drink, then say there's no deal again. And after that, you will say one rubbish in that meeting, and that kept happening. And that project never came to light. Because I'm saying that it's a caution. It's about the questions that you ask and the answers that you get. And over time, it will show. It will show. It will keep showing. So being, as an employee, is the best place to ask those questions and perfect that caution. Because when you leave, there will be consequences. I mean, if you are no longer employed, you have to pay rent every day. And you've not perfected that model. It's not easy. It's tougher. So, next slide. Someone said, Nelson, okay, you've discussed business extensively. I think I have. What of impact? Impact is intentional. It is business as a mission, which is my passion and calling, to teach this subject of business as a mission. Business as a mission asks the question, why? Why are we doing what we are doing? Before asking what, before asking how, before I even ask where is the market, question is, why am I in business? And as Christians, our answer is, may your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. So BAM is the intentional integration of business and mission. And the mission is to make his kingdom known. This concept developed in the late 90s, and in the Lausanne Committee for World Evangelism, 2004, they identified BAM as an important new development in world mission. So what they said is this: business is a mission, a calling, a ministry in its own right. Because you are employing people. And these people are spiritual beings. You are an overseer. Overseer is a bishop. And what did the Bible say? He that desires the office of a bishop desires what? A good thing. Most of us spend about 10 hours on average a day at our offices. Your CEO can say, we have one important thing on Sunday morning. You will show up, most likely. Do you understand? You say, we'll go Sunday, let's just do this one. It's part of the... So, but my point is, imagine if you come into business with that mindset. So, BAM is business, profitable business, intentional business. It is focused on holistic transformation and the multiple bottom lines of economic, social, environmental, and spiritual outcomes. So for me, I judge my performance based on how much I was able to give to church and ministry. One, how many people I'm employing and how I'm influencing them. Two, my impact on the environment, broader environment. Before counting if we made money that year. Of course, if we don't remember, we don't pay salaries, we cannot impact our staff, right? So it must be sustainable. But how sustainable we are is not as important as these other things I've just mentioned now. And it frees you. It frees you from the tyranny of lust. Do you understand? Because Bible said that these people have all their lives been what? Made subject to death. Through what? The fear of death. I also said that we have received these exceedingly great and precious promises, that by this we may do what? Escape, that is the question that is in the word, true lust. You partake of the divine nature to escape that corruption. So it frees you because, I tell you the truth, if you have to pay rent and salary and all that, you might, if you're not careful, become so wrapped up by that need that you forget your priorities. So BAM is a culture. It's a culture of ideas, culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior for particular society of my time. I took some time earlier to discuss. But I'm almost there. So BAM is a culture, right? And it's about shared patterns of behavior. Culture is what we do, not what we say. It's not to say I'm a pastor in business. Oh, stop it. What are you doing? That is BAM. Do you get? So it is the culture. And the goal of enterprise is not just to maximize shareholders' wealth, it's for the kingdom and glory of God. I'll move a little bit faster. Someone might ask, is God's kingdom not averse to wealth? And people have reasons for that. Truth is this. The Bible is clear that the love of money, right, is the root of all evil. Not the possession of money. And there are many case studies to prove that. The most righteous man in the East is who? The most righteous man in the East, Job. I was the most richest man. So I'll say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Can you imagine? The most righteous man in the East was the richest man in the East. Think about it. Selah, So there is resources in God, and I'll round up by saying, because of time, that BAM is about this sense of calling. Because you cannot really do this if you don't have a sense of calling. And the question really is to ask, is there a calling upon your life? That's the question to ask. If not, it will be like, I want to do BAM. We're trying to do BAM to help God. So it's about this sense of calling. And the answer is yes, there's a calling upon your life. And calling is living before the audience of one. Those behind the slide receive capacity. Calling is living before the audience of one. It's being able to say that it's all about the king and what? His kingdom. Archbishop Woodard Temple, if you have been around, I quote this a lot. Worship is the submission of all our nation. Think about this from a business, just business, you understand that? So think about it from a business perspective. Worship is the submission of all of our nation to God. Abi? It is the quickening of conscience by His holiness. Nourishment of mind by His truth. Purifying of imagination by His beauty. Opening of the heart to His love. And submission of our will to His purposes. If you add adoration to it, so that is the highest capacity that we can ever come to. In other words, we are called to worship. And being called to worship means using the entirety of my being. So when I look at the market, I ask Him, Lord, open my eyes to behold wonderful things out of thy law. Because God created this order that we are seeing today. So He can quicken your imagination. He can nourish your mind by His truth. You now begin to see things that you are not seeing before. He can, purify your conscience. So you are called to worship because the Father is seeking those that worship Him in truth and in spirit. And you can do that in the marketplace. Because God has gifted you uniquely and responsibly. The life of faith can be lived as a farmer with as much relevance and recognition in the sight of God as an ordained pastor. Do you understand? You can live the life of faith as a farmer, as a businessman. We should look to Abraham, our father. If Abraham lived today, you will just see him as a businessman, a farmer that had 316 staff. True of us? True. That was seeking for a new development. He went to a bush and cleared the place and paid rent and said, "Thrive." That's what you will see today. That's all you will see. You know what? If Abraham lived today, he's an entrepreneur. That's all. That's all. That's all. But God said, this man is the father of faith. So you cannot be more faith than Abraham. And at the end of the day, is it not faith you are looking for? Because why do we get this wrong notion that until I stand before here and say, this is what the Lord is saying, that I'm in faith? Who told you? Someone said, you are even more spiritual than some people that are preaching to you. Do you get? Particularly because I see what's happening out there. Thank God, TBC is a fantastic place. Thank God. It's an exception. You know, a lot of people that God has called to the marketplace have chickened out because of a wrong understanding of what we are discussing today. And what happens is that you create caricature in the spirit. So I'm rounding up now, gentlemen. My time is up. When a generation lacks this sense of calling, what happens is that we venerate the clergy at the expense of the laity. We venerate the clergy. In other words, to make the clergy holy, and we are unholy. Abi? The church wraps itself up in a pious enclave. In other words, we become a monastery of sorts. We don't reach to the world. Now, the church loses its public influence. What I call the triumph of the bushel. You know? You also don't put a bushel around it. But the bushel that triumphs in this case. Now, the world takes over various arenas of influence. A generation arises that does not know Joseph. Because they will know the priest. They will hear about the Levitical order, but they never heard about Joseph. After all, Nebuchadnezzar, didn't they have priests when he came to conquer Israel? But who brought him to God? Daniel, an administrator. So some people will never come to your church shebang, you know, but they will listen to you in the marketplace. So we receive a religion, without this understanding, we receive a religion that does not have power, that doesn't have executional power in the marketplace. And finally, we fail to give our tasks the nature of commitment they truly deserve. Because we don't see it that way. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if it is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Praise God.